if you're a parent, you probably got some problems. We have this book, No Problem Parenting. I love this book. I love what they're sharing in it, the messages. We're going to bring up the creator of the book, Jaci Finneman, and she's going to talk about like how this book idea came about and then what the authors are writing in the book. And so, Jaci, come on up. Come on down. The price is right.
I'm the next contestant. Woo!
What do you win? You win an interview. That's what you win today.
With the great Lynda Sunshine
Aw.
West. Are you kidding me?
Oh my
It's my
gosh.
lucky day.
I'm so excited to have you here because, this book, No Problem Parenting, when I was a parent, I feel like there were a lot of problems. And like, so how do you, as a person who helps people with their families, with their children, you having this no problem parenting, what is no problem parenting all about? Let's start with that. And then what is this book all about?
Yeah, I almost didn't even call it that because I kind of get irritated when people say, "Oh, no problem," and there's a problem. You're like, "Yeah, whatever, that's a problem," or it's going to be a problem for you. No problem parenting is all about dealing with and overcoming problems. Right in the definition of the word problem, it says that problems are, a matter or situation that is unwelcome or harmful and needing to be dealt with and overcome. So that's what the definition of a problem. So I thought, you know what? Let's turn any problem into a no problem because truly we can do that. We can turn
And how do we
any
do it?
problem into a no problem. And that's what I teach parents to do by helping them become the confident leaders that I say our kids crave us to be.
They certainly do. I know that, as myself growing up and as myself as a parent, I definitely did not feel confident as a parent, and then as a child, I don't know that I had a lot of confidence in my parents. So exactly what you're talking about there. So how do we, let's just say like any general situation in life, like how do we turn the problem into a no problem? Do you have a
Well, first
formula
of
for
all,
that?
we really have to understand, okay, what is the problem and get to the root of the problem. 90% of the time, I just made that number up, but it's in my 30 years of experience or so. Like literally 90% of the time, the actual problem or the behavior that the child is displaying or showing you is not the actual problem. That's just sort of like the disguise, right? And so we want to get to the root of that. So seeking first to understand, why is my child behaving the way they are? Why are they yelling at me, spitting at me, tantruming on the floor, rolling their eyes? Whatever they're doing, stealing, lying, kicking, hitting, screaming, all the things. Why are they doing that? So let's get to the root of that. And then let's figure out, why am I, the parent, responding the way that I am, or more often reacting the way that I am? And then we prepare for the worst. We can't always be prepared. Life throws us curveballs, and our kids most certainly do. But there are certain behaviors we know are going to happen when we get home after, pick the kids up from school or get home late at night or whatever. We know there's certain things that are going to happen. So we can be prepared for those kind of behaviors so we can deal with them instead of reacting to them. And we can overcome them. And then step 3 is to change the conversation. I believe we're giving our kids way too much unconditional praise. And that might make people go, huh, what? Don't we want to give our kids unconditional praise? Well, not if they don't even believe it themselves. We look kind of silly. We can even look like a liar, appear like a liar to our kids, right? And so instead, we want to teach conditional praise. We want to give them factual praise, something that they can hold on to and believe in and go, oh yeah, I guess when I did go help, Sally out the other day when she wasn't feeling well, and I went and helped her out. That is what a good friend does. I am a good friend. Not just, oh, come on, buddy, you have friends. When your kid says, I don't have any friends, instead of convincing them they do, you give them some conditional proof that they can hold on to. And so that's changed the conversation, feeling empathy for our kids, not sympathy.
Oh, I love all of this. And a lot of things you were saying, flashed me back to when I was a parent with my kids. Like my daughter, for example, she didn't believe in herself. She didn't love herself. And so I would say, just stare in the mirror. Like I had heard about this, right? Stare in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, I'm kind, I'm nice, like all these I am statements. The challenge with that is, like, as I've learned now later in life, is that the challenge with that is that if we don't truly believe it, it's not going to be so. It doesn't, just because I say the words doesn't
Right.
mean it's so. We have to tie like some kind of emotion and belief to it. And so curious, like, how do you help parents through these situations? Like what got you into this kind of work? Let's start there. What got you into this type of work?
Well, I actually, right straight out of high school in 1991, I thought I was going to help out kiddos with special needs and become a special needs or special education director someday. That was the ultimate goal. But I met a girl at the time, she was 10 years old, and she had what's called reactive attachment disorder. So that's when a child hasn't bonded or connected in the first 3 years of life due to abuse, neglect, trauma, medical pain, et cetera, et cetera. And they don't really connect. They don't trust the adult. They don't learn that they don't learn that adults are safe. So they don't learn to trust the adults. There's a whole episode, a couple of episodes on my podcast, I go into all of that. But I was so intrigued and fascinated by the fact that her parents were pouring out all this love and empathy and, structure and nurture and everything to her. And she just was rejecting them consistently. And so that's piqued my curiosity. I went and learned all I could about attachment disorders and eventually became a mental health practitioner or a counselor with a nonprofit, did that for 20 years. And then I became a coordinator for over 80 therapists and counselors and in their self-managed teams. And I was driving 5,000 miles a month. I was never home. My son was 8 years old at the time. I was being pulled further away from the work of helping parents in those day in, day out challenges. And I was just, and the mental health system was changing. I was like, I gotta stop the bus here. I gotta slow down and figure out what is it that I really want to do. How can I do it and be able to be with my own kid as I'm specializing in attachment and helping other people attach with their kiddo. So I, all because of a goldfinch, and I'm a parenting coach in 2013. And now I get to help parents in their day in, day out struggles. We all have them. It's more common to have problems with your kids than to not have problems with your kids. And I help them ease their burdens or ease their mind about being, failing at parenting, or, having a kid that stiff arms you and is rejecting you, or having a child that's really struggling, even if you and your kiddo's relationship is good, but you don't know how to help them. So that's my jam, is being able to build up the confidence in the parent. You are the expert of your child. And you don't have to be the expert of everything. You don't have to know everything, right? Because like even in a business, there's a president of a company. They're the expert of their company, but they may not be great at sales. They may not be good at marketing. They might not be, good at human relations or whatever. So they hire people to do all that stuff for them, right? And that's what I help parents do. They're the expert of their kid, and I help you find the right services and products and all the things to help you and your child have that relationship, and for you to be that confident parent.
And the title, your chapter for this book, No Problem Parenting. We're talking about the book, No Problem Parenting. You can get a copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/NPP. We also have a lot of free gifts from our authors over there. So please go over there, cash in on those free gifts, and get your copy of the book today. And so you are the expert of your child. I believe in you. So it sounds like that's your ultimate message. And you want to share with us a little bit about your chapter. Not too much. Don't give it all away.
Yeah, just a little bit. I do believe that parents are the expert of their child, but if you don't feel like the expert and you don't feel acknowledged and you don't feel validated and you're embarrassed, your kids aren't going to do as well either, right? So we need to empower parents. We need to build parents up, lift them up. It's the only job you're working 24/7 that you don't get paid for. Right? There's no like extra benefits and people throwing your, birthday parties and Christmas parties and things and celebrate. Well, I suppose your family does throw you a birthday party, but it is a really tough job. And yeah, hopefully they do. But you know what I mean? It's just, you don't get the kind of support that you can even get when you're working for an employer. Right. And so, but we need to make sure that you're feeling, heard, seen, validated. And that's what I love about this book. Even with book number 1, we were helping parents become raising your kiddos with more confidence and less fear. This book is all about resources and stories that are going to help you build confidence and connection with your kids. And not all of the authors are, like in the first book, all the authors had their own kind of businesses, their own niches. Some of the authors in this book are parents who have just lived it, and they're telling the stories of certain, their situation, raising their kiddos, their trials and triumphs, and all of those kinds of things. So, I'm just super excited to have the second book out, especially with Action Taker Publishing. You guys have been amazing.
Thank you so much. Truly appreciate that, of course. Why do people need to go out and buy this book? Because we have, like you mentioned, there are some people that, like, it's professionals in their field. Some people, it's parents. Like, what is it about this book? You've read every single story. So what is it about this book in particular that people need to go out and buy it?
I just really hope that this book will serve as a helpful guide to you on your parenting journey that's going to boost your confidence. It's going to strengthen your connection with your kiddos. There's a variety of authors in the book that have endured different challenges, that have learned how to advocate for themselves or for their child, that have learned how to talk to their child differently, or how to, maybe connect with their child in a different way, take the pressure off of being the perfect parent. I mean, there's just a whole variety of stories and resources in there. I want you to know that your success or your failure, or what you think is a failure as a parent, how well your child does or doesn't do, is really not a direct reflection of your efforts and your love. You can do the best you can. You know how people say parenting's a crapshoot? I'll give this part away a little bit. It does not mean that we can just throw in the towel and, well, whatever happens, happens. And, and it doesn't excuse your behavior if you're a yeller, right? Or a helicopter parent. But what I want you to know is that parenting is a crapshoot. You can do super great. Your kid can do super great all the way through high school. And then they go off to college and they freak out. And they don't have the same structure and, consistency and familiarity as they did at home. And they mess up, or they crumble. You can have a child who has endured extreme trauma, abuse, and neglect, and they go on to be the most successful, loving, kind, amazing people. So we don't ever really know truly how our kid's going to turn out. So ultimately, we're just responsible for our own happiness, our own success. Despite how we were parented, our kids will turn out just despite how you parented them, right? And so just do your best, and remember that you don't have to navigate the journey alone. There are so many resources out there, and that's exactly why we put the book together.
Awesome. I love that. And I want you to share a little bit about your podcast. You can connect with Jaci at noproblemparents.com. But talk a little bit about your podcast, because that's kind of what started the whole book, right? The No Problem Parenting.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that before. So yeah, in April of 2021, I started the No Problem Parenting podcast, and the idea was that I was going to share tips and tools and strategies and stories and things from my own experience in the last 30 some years. Within about 4 weeks, I started getting requests for guests to be on my show, and I'm like, how do you even know I have a show? Like, it's so new, right? And who am I? And so I thought, maybe I should entertain that. And I looked into these guests, and I thought that would be fun. Oh, that's a great resource. Oh, that's a great resource. And I love connecting and networking and resourcing. And so I, to date now, have interviewed over 150 guests on a variety of parenting topics, whether that is parenting topics to help build confidence in the parent or support the parent, or it's helping with a child's behavior or a product that's going to help your family or make life a little easier for you. It's a huge range of topics on the podcast. And we put out at least one a week. Sometimes this week, I think we've got 3 going out. So anywhere between 1 and 3 episodes a week on a variety of topics. And that is really to help parents think differently, learn about resources that maybe aren't available in your local community, but you could still have access to them. My podcast guests, most of them are in the United States, but I do have, at least I'd say 20 or so that are, globally. So, and we are a top 2% globally rated podcast, working on that top 1%, hopefully soon. So please go take a listen, and you really help us help more parents by following the podcast, rating it, or just even leaving a comment about, something that you learned on an episode that maybe you didn't know before.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Go to noproblemparents.com, connect with Jaci over there. But most importantly, today we're talking about the book, No Problem Parenting. Put that up on the screen there. Oops, wrong one. That was me. No Problem Parenting. Go get your copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/NPP. Go cash in on the free gifts that we have from the authors. And Jaci, I want to thank you so much for being here today with us and bringing this book to us. I mean, so exciting. I love it when somebody brings a project to us for us to work on it. And it's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure working with you. And I look forward to volume 3.
Volume 3. Oh yeah, me too. We've already got authors lined up.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So if you want to be in this book, reach out to us at actiontakerspublishing.com. We will be looking for authors for volume 3. So connect with us over there. Thanks, Jackie, so much. And we're gonna head to just like a quick commercial, and then we'll be back for more interviews. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Lynda.
Everyone, I'm Marilyn Crump, expert dreamcatcher, business developer, and marketing strategist. And I really wanted to step in here to say just how amazing my experience has been in the recent days, because I am yet another #1 Amazon best-selling author. Woo! So it's very amazing to say that. And in this book, The Fearless Entrepreneurs, I was really engaged with just some fantastic co-authors as well. The publisher, Lynda Sunshine West, just made everything so super easy. I'm a very busy entrepreneur, and I'm doing a bunch of things that I can think of to make sure that I'm getting out there and really telling my story. And this was such a brilliant way for me to get involved. And what I loved the most about this process was that there was a lot of cohesion with all of the different authors. I've been in other types of contribution books like this, but sometimes you don't get to know everybody and you don't really know what everybody's talking about. Then you almost feel kind of strange that the stories don't all quite align, even though you're under the same subject. I just feel like this one, it was very well explained. The premise was well set. The intention was there. And it was really easy to be in the flow with the other authors. So I just want to congratulate everybody else who's in the book, and to thank Lynda Sunshine West for the opportunity. I'm just truly excited to be a part of it.